1. All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus Show. I am Lupagus, and today we are SKOL'ing with the enemy. Faiz from, I think I called you Faiz again. Faiz from FaizSportsTalk is here, probably the premier Bears channel on YouTube. Check them out. Faiz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. And listen, you can just call me FST, make it even easier for you.
FST, all right. The Bears and the Vikings are both at 6-7, kind of having similar seasons. Well, actually mirrored, because the Vikings started off with a 5-game kind of a losing streak. The Bears were pretty hot early. Now they flipped that around. But the first thing I got to ask you here, the Bears, they did snap their 6-game losing streak last week against the Houston Texans. Was that just a result of playing a bad team, or was there something with this Bears defense that woke up, or having troops back? I mean, what was it that sparked this? I mean, it was a dominating win over the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and that's why I can't say it was just the team that we were playing, because everyone's going to say the Texans defense is awful and they're not a good team, and they aren't. But to destroy them and blow them out, I think that you're not giving enough credit, and I don't mean you, I'm talking about the general public, of course. They're not giving enough credit to the Bears for that performance. So to answer your question, a little bit of both. Obviously, the Texans, like I mentioned, aren't very good defensively, but this Bears offense, if people have paid attention, has turned the corner with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. And even though they have lost games like against the Packers and the Lions, the offense has moved the football. And that's a far cry from the offense with Nick Foles. And you would know that in that first game against Minnesota, that was like a 19-13 game. We couldn't move the football. So the offense is playing a lot better. The defense also playing up to the level that they were. They fell off a little bit against the Lions. They allowed like 34 points. And then the Packers game, we just weren't good overall. But I think it's a little bit of both. Offense is playing well, and the Texans aren't very good.
Well, I was hoping you were just going to say it was the Texans, so makes me a little bit nervous. All right, so let's talk a little long-term things before we actually jump into this game. Matt Nagy feels like the seat under him is getting hotter and hotter. What are the chances right now he actually returns as a Bears head coach next year?
You know, I'm really torn on this question. I keep going back and forth with myself. Before this win against the Texans, I guess you could say that, you know, Matt Nagy was pretty much done here in Chicago. And I'm not saying this is the win that keeps him here, but it's weird with Nagy, man, because he has given up play calling, right? So you would think, what's the point of having him if he can't even call the plays? He's an offensive coach. Well, he's a good leader. Guys like playing for him. The Bears haven't given up, right? They could have given up a long time ago, the players on this team. So I think he's got that thing going for him. And the other thing, too, is I think the GM, Ryan Pace, is more likely to go than Nagy. Now, both of them should go because Pace hired Nagy. But there's a chance if we get a new GM that he could decide to keep Nagy. So I know that's a long way of answering your question here, but I think the chances of Matt Nagy, I'm going to say now, 60-40. He's not the coach for the Bears. The only way I see him staying is if we get into the playoffs and you know, we maybe, you know, get lucky, win a playoff game, and something like that happens. Otherwise, I think they're going to clean house.
And how long has he been there? Has it been 3 years now?
3 years. 2018, won Coach of the Year. People forget.
No, I remember. I mean,
yeah,
the shit he was doing with Tariq Cohen was crazy. All right, so let's look ahead here to the offseason. The Bears and the Vikings, it's going to be kind of interesting because we're going to be picking in that same range. I mean, we're both going to probably end up finishing right around the 8-8 mark, whether it's 7-9, 9-7, 8-8, picking in the 14-19 range right now. So I'm not going to make you give me a player, but what positions do you think the Bears are looking at? You know, where do you want them to go with their first round pick, which they have not had in 2 years?
This one's easy for me. It's two positions. It's quarterback and offensive line. Either which one is fine. If you asked me to pick, put a gun to my head, I'd probably say quarterback, but offensive line could be the pick as well. And the reason I say it's very clear is because we haven't taken an offensive lineman in the first round in forever. And so that's a position of need and a position that we, really usually don't draft, and hopefully that changes. And then quarterback, because we don't have a long-term answer at quarterback on the roster. So I think it has to be one of those two positions. I think it's going to depend on the depth of the position and kind of where the players fall in this draft class. So to me, I would say quarterback and offensive line.
When you say offensive line, you're thinking more tackle, guard. What are you looking at? Because you stay the hell away from Wyatt Davis.
Can't promise anything. Probably going to go with guard. Probably going to go with guard. But again, a help all around. And one thing I want to say, like the Packers, their offensive line is elite, right? We know that their offensive line is good. It's not just they have good players at every position on the line. They have players that are versatile and can move around. And I want guys like that. So I'd love to obviously just upgrade in general, but drafting guys that can play guard, can play tackle, move around on the line, I think that's going to be key here. So I'm all open for help all across the offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're going to be picking very similar here positions. Yeah. It'll be fun. Again, I'm here with FST, FaizSportsTalk. Be sure to check them out, follow them. Even again, just troll them this week, give them some views, harass them on the comments. You got to do it when you're playing division rival for the second time. So give me a few Bears players that you think are going to be gone at the end of the season here, and whether or not you're actually going to miss these players.
So players that are going to be gone, I mean, free agent wise, not too many huge big names. Maybe Jermaine Afidi, we signed him from the Seattle Seahawks, offensive lineman. He's been whatever. I'm not going to miss him at all. Tayshaun Gibson, he's been, a pleasant surprise. He was signed on a 1-year deal. I don't mind if he goes either. I mean, he's solid. We could re-sign him. We could leave, have him go. I don't think it matters either way. A name to keep an eye out for that we did sign, he's not a free agent next year, but he could be cut, and I'm not going to miss him at all, is Jimmy Graham. I hated the signing when it happened. Obviously, Vikings fans should know Jimmy Graham being in the division with the Packers too. Mm-hmm. And now he's literally getting overplayed or outplayed, I should say, by Cole Kmet. So like our second-round draft pick, Cole Kmet, he is getting more snaps. And Jimmy Graham at this point, like, what's his role on the team if he's not going to be more productive than a rookie tight end? And, is he bringing veteran leadership? Well, at what cost? So if the Bears need to save money next year, I think they cut Jimmy Graham, and I'm all for it.
Nice. Interesting. Thank you for that. You know what? I snuck an extra question on here. I know I sent you something to get ready, but I'm going to give you a curveball here. And maybe, I don't know if you're going to do a video on this later, so maybe it's still undecided at this point, but right now, give me your Bears offensive and defensive MVP for the 2020 season.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Defensively, it's easy for me. It's Roquan Smith. He's been an absolute beast. I think he's got the most tackles on the Bears. He just has had a breakout year. And it's funny, you think I say that, and we have a guy like Khalil Mack on our team. Well, Khalil Mack's been solid, but he's been, kind of what we expect, or maybe a little bit less than that. I know he's had a few down games here and there. Roquan Smith has broken out. So he's become, for sure, to me, the best player on the defense this year, and a building block for the Bears for the future. So one of the good picks Ryan Pace had. And then offensively, I'll probably go with Allen Robinson still. Just the most consistent player on our team. Just crossed 1,000 yards. I feel like, every week you think, oh man, like how is this offense going to do anything without A-Rob? And it really does feel like that because, again, our other receivers and Anthony Miller, Darnell Mooney, they're nice pieces. I like Mooney a lot, but A-Rob is just such a weapon for us. And throughout the entire season, like consistently, it's been Allen Robinson because Montgomery's had a few good games now, last few weeks, but throughout the season, I'd say A-Rob for sure.
And isn't, with Trubes at the quarterback, I mean, he loves throwing A-Rob. It's like he
loves him.
I was counting the targets. Isn't like 30-something targets the last 3 games? It's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. And I love it for my fantasy team, so I ain't complaining.
Well, I'm going to pick A-Rob in some fan duels this weekend, don't you? I guarantee you that. All right, so the Bears somehow sneak into the playoffs. I mean, do you think they have enough talent on this team to not only win a game, but maybe even scrap together some kind of a run?
My head says no, obviously, because of the inconsistency with this team. But the one thing I know watching the NFL for years is I don't like playing teams, or people shouldn't like playing teams that get hot. So if the Bears are going into the playoffs because they won 3 in a row, which they pretty much need to do to make the playoffs, then that means they're playing well, they're hot. And any given Sunday, you want to give them the chance. Now, again, all depends on the opponent. If we get somebody from the NFC East, yeah, I'll take my chances. But if we get, a top tier team like the Saints, like the Packers, I'm not going to go out and pick the Bears. So it's going to depend on the opponent. But the thing with this Bears team is, unlike, a team like, let's say the Cardinals, who are in the playoff picture right now, right? They have that last wild card spot. I think we know like what the Cardinals kind of ceiling is, if you will. This Bears team, if their defense clicks, if their offense clicks, special teams, this team has potential that a lot of teams don't, and they have a lot of ceiling that other teams don't. So I guess a long way of saying that with the right opponent, absolutely they could upset them. Am I going to pick them to do it? Probably not. But I think they have a better chance than other teams that are on the outside looking in.
Oh, like the team in purple?
Yeah. There you go. The Vikings too.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the game here coming up. So they got True's back. He was not there the first time around. It was Nick Foles. David Montgomery they actually have a running back this time. Last time, Cordell Patterson got all the carries and actually did better than he should have. How much a difference are those two going to make when it comes to the Bears offense and just overall their chances of winning this game?
Huge. I can't underestimate this, because last game that, obviously we played you guys, you're talking about Cordell Patterson. I think he had 12 carries for like 30 yards. Montgomery's averaging like 100 yards over his last 3 games. He's been on fire. So you're talking about a huge upgrade to the run game. And then Mitchell Trubisky, I mentioned earlier, the offense is just playing so much better. Again, I hate throwing out these numbers because you can skew them any which way, but I think Trubisky has like the second most touchdowns in the last 3 weeks after Aaron Rodgers. So he's just been playing really good football, and hopefully it continues. So an upgrade to the quarterback position from the last time we played the Vikings, and an upgrade to the running back position, I think it's huge. And you can make the argument just over the last 3 games that Montgomery and Trubisky have been one of, if not the best players for the Bears offensively.
Yeah, what worries me about Trubisky is just his legs. I mean, that guy can take off. He's fast. If we let him extend some drives, picking up first downs on third down, I'm going to pull my hair out, and I don't got that much left.
I don't mean to throw another stat at you, but I think the last time Trubisky lost to the Vikings I think it was 2017 too.
Well, I mean, you got to look at some of those games, though. One was a throwaway game last year.
I knew. See, this is why I hate throwing out these stats and numbers, because you can manipulate them any way you want, but just wanted to throw that out there.
Absolutely. All right, just a couple more with Foz here from FST. I don't know if you realize this, but Kirk Cousins has actually been able to move the ball with his legs the last couple of games. Are the Chicago Bears prepared to deal with the Vikings' new mobile quarterback?
Well, I don't think Kirk Cousins is, Deshaun Watson of the NFC North here, but I'll say this. I've been on the side of Kirk Cousins for a while now. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I think Kirk Cousins gets such a bad rap, but he's accurate. He, does what needs to be done in terms of the game plan, right? And there's not a lot of quarterbacks that you kind of look at their play and then you kind of look at their numbers and you're like, oh my goodness, like he's putting up these type of numbers. So like the last couple of seasons, Kirk Cousins has had great numbers, and I like Kirk Cousins. As far as him using his legs, I'm still not afraid of that. Maybe I should be, maybe that is something that we overlook in the game plan. But I think with Kirk Cousins, it's still going to be get pressure in his face and try to rattle him, and hopefully he doesn't have Justin Jefferson rip us apart like last time.
Yeah, it ain't pretty when he runs, but it can be effective.
No, it's not.
And that guy, I tell you, the way he's built, he can take a hit. He just does not get hurt. He's kind of got a big butt on him. He's thick, and he kind of just absorbs those hits. So he's tough. He's a tough guy. But when he takes off, it's not going to be as pretty as watching Mitch Trubisky run. I'll tell you that.
Well, Mitch Trubisky, by the way, has also been a little scared to run. I don't know if he forgot or whatnot, but every time he runs, he doesn't look normal or like he used to in 2018. He's probably just scared from the injuries. Yeah. Just slide, Mitch. Just slide. You're fine.
Cousins don't slide it. He just dives, and it's
yeah. Cousins loves to dive. I know what you mean.
I don't know why we can't have a sliding quarterback. All right, huge game. huge playoff implications for this. Basically, the hopes of one of these teams ride on winning this game. How do you see Bears Vikings 2.0 shaking out?
All right, so I gave my preview earlier this week on my channel too. So, I've been thinking a lot about this game. That first game, I got to tell you, that was one of the worst losses the Bears have had all season. I really think if we had even a competent offense that game, and we didn't, I think we beat the Vikings. I think Nick Foles got hurt that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Late.
Yeah, he had like 106 passing yards. It was bad. Yeah, 15 for 26, 106 passing yards and a pick. And again, no Cordell Patterson. So this time around, in Minnesota, no weather implications in a dome.
No fans.
No fans. That's true too. I like the Bears' chances. It's still going to come down to, can you stop Dalvin Cook? Now, last time, and let me ask you this: do you consider what the Bears did in the first game, stopping Dalvin Cook? I think he had 30 carries for about 96 yards.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what stopping Dalvin Cook is right now, keeping him under 100. And he really hasn't had a huge game in quite a while. I mean, I think he had, what was it? I don't know, 120 or something. I mean, he's grinding now. He's been having to grind for these yards. I think he's starting to get a little bit tired. But yeah, that's a good job. I think the Bears did very good against him. If you hold him 96 yards, did he have a score that game? I can't remember.
I don't think he had a score that game.
Okay.
Or at least I can't remember. So it all starts with Dalvin Cook, right? Stopping Dalvin Cook. Because if you're asking me to pick between stopping Cook and stopping Thielen and Jefferson, who actually, they did score the touchdowns. I think Thielen had 2. Nope. Jefferson had 8 for 135. I will still take stopping Dalvin Cook, as much as those guys are great. And by the way, I think Justin Jefferson should win Offensive Rookie of the Year, even over Justin Herbert. He's been unbelievable.
Yep.
So stopping Dalvin Cook. But then offensively, I want us to keep running football. The difference, I think, for the Bears these last 3 games, I keep talking about Mitch, but it's really been David Montgomery's run game that set it up for us. So I know you guys aren't as bad against the run as, the Texans were, the Lions were, but we got to get Montgomery going, and then off that, get Mitch moving, play action, bootleg, and then, hopefully put pressure on Kirk Cousins and folds like a cheap tent. That's what I'm hoping for, and get a couple of sacks there. But overall, I think that's the game plan for the Bears, and I'm going to go ahead and say that the Bears win this game. Now, listen, this could come back to bite me because it did last time. So I need your thoughts too, and I need to know who you're picking. But I'm going with the Bears 24-17 in essentially a one-score game. And I do think that the Bears come out with a little bit more desperation than the Vikings, and that's the only reason I'm giving them that. And if the Bears defense plays well and the Bears offense plays well, so both offense and defense come together like they did against the Texans, I think it happens. 24-17 Bears. What do you got?
Well, a couple of things worry me about this game when it comes to the Bears. Number one, Vikings are going to probably be without Eric Kendricks again in the middle. Does not bode well with David Montgomery back in the lineup. That kind of horrifies me. Our Shamar Stephen is supposed to be our run staffer. Jaleel Johnson, they've been horrible all season long. So I'm very worried about David Montgomery. Worried about True was picking up first downs with his legs. And I'm worried about our kicker. I don't know what we're going to get from him this week. If he's missing points, we can't afford to leave any points off in this game. I do think it's going to come down to a one-score game, whether that's a touchdown or a field goal, whatever it is, it's going to be close. That being said, you look at the Bears' last 3 games. They got smoked by the Packers, who are good. They lost to the Lions, who are horrible, and they smoked the Texans, who aren't very good. So I don't know how much you can really put into those games or what you can take out of them. So I'm going to still go with the Vikings, but I do think this is going to be damn close, and I'm going to be on the edge of my seat all game long.
Yeah, and I think you guys are the favorites, so I'm picking the underdog here. So you're on the right side of Vegas. So
well, I mean,
I'm the one going out on a limb here.
I won't be surprised if the Vikings lose. I mean, we barely beat the Jaguars, so that was ugly.
It's just like a 3-point spread, I think. But just one actual quick question I had for you. If Dan Bailey misses a kick, like his first kick, extra point, whatever, do you think the Vikings kick again?
No, I don't. I think they go for it every single time if they score a touchdown, and I don't think they kick another field goal.
So he gets one shot. That's it, right?
I believe that 100%.
I actually didn't account for that. I totally, forgot that Dan Bailey just had the worst game ever. And so that's advantage Bears. So
it's huge advantage. I mean, you got Cairo Santo. He don't miss, especially against the Vikings. Kickers don't miss against the Vikings.
He's been phenomenal.
And they had their chance. They worked out Chandler Catanzaro. I mean, they didn't sign anybody. They cut their practice squad kicker. So if they roll Bailey out there and he misses and they lose this game, it's on the Vikings.
Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Absolutely. All right, Faz, thanks for SKOL'ing with us again. Good luck. Well, not so much Sunday, but good luck the last 2 games. Again, appreciate you coming on. So
no, absolutely. And good luck to you too after this week.
All right. I respect that. All right, guys, that was SKOL'ing with the Enemy with Faz from FST. Check them out. And after you do that, be sure to always keep your skull in your hole.